Just how the hell stupid do they think you are? Me too, for that matter. Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Gentlemen, I am here to almost, but not quite, talk about Joe Biden pardoning his son, Hunter Biden. And there are things I'm not upset about. I'm not upset about Hunter getting the pardon. I mean, it was a gross miscarriage of justice and all that. But the president's power to pardon for federal offenses is unlimited by the Constitution. He can just, declare you pardoned. I mean, there's nothing written in the Constitution other than he can do this. And, well, he did that. And it was gross, but don't get yourself all worked up about it. It's perfectly legal. And if you want to be upset about, the miscarriage of justice, fine. I understand. I have other things to do with my time. And I'm not even upset about people like the press secretary, or the lovely and untalented KJP. They've got a supercut of her lying for 9 minutes. 9 minutes of her saying that Joe Biden would never, ever pardon his son Hunter. But, that's her job, lying for the president, right? That doesn't get me either. However, gentlemen, there is another supercut. It's another 9 minutes of our best and brightest in the Washington press corps repeating Joe Biden's lie that he would never, ever pardon Hunter, as though it were actual news, and they did it for months. And this I'm steamed about. Scott, you, and I mean no slight when I say this, you are a trained journalist. When
I would slap you if we were in the same room. Go ahead.
When you see these talking heads in the press who, if any other party were involved in a big lie like this, they would treat it with at least some skepticism instead of just parroting it, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, if such a thing existed, yeah, that would happen. We don't really have that kind of press, and it's funny that we even use the word press because so few newspapers are printed anymore. Anyway, I think what bothers me as a journalist is, first of all, that you send your press secretary out there to say things that you don't have any real commitment to. Whatever you think of Karine Jean-Pierre, she's going out there saying what they told her to say. And I know, from having watched very carefully many episodes of The West Wing, that this happens from time to time, but it still doesn't make it any better. That person's job relies on being able to accurately reflect the views of the executive branch, of the president specifically, and to hang her out to dry like that is terrible. And then I also think that part of this is because of the way we handle political partisanship these days. It's like you're obligated, no matter what you personally think or believe, you're obligated to go along with every line of the script that's dictated from the top of the party. And to me, I think you can be let's just flip it onto the other party. I think you can be a faithful Republican, but not agree with everything the Republican Party says or everything any particular candidate or office holder says. You don't have to check your brain at the door to be a Republican. There should be, honest dissent. That doesn't mean you need to treat somebody as evil when they're just doing something stupid. But I think you do need to maintain your integrity, because what else do you have in a profession that relies almost completely upon the things you say in public and the actions you take as a consequence of those things? So it's embarrassing for everybody to go out there and basically put your reputation on the line for somebody who has motives that are different from yours. And, I don't know what happened over Thanksgiving dinner. I will leave open the possibility that the president decided, at the last minute, screw it, he's my son, But nevertheless, you need to say to people around you, look, the president keeps his own counsel on these matters, and I'm not asking you to go out there and testify on my behalf about future events which may or may not happen.
Yeah, actually, Scott, I'm glad you brought up the president's decision-making process, because let me tell you something else that didn't piss me off, which was Biden wrapped his pardon in this shroud of lies, and I'm not mad about that. Last summer, he said, "I will never pardon Hunter. We're going to let the justice system work its way through this." And well, the thing is, that was a lie, number one, because the Department of Justice, the Biden Department of Justice, dragged its feet until the most serious offenses fell outside of the statute of limitations. They only brought the case to trial because the sweetheart plea deal that the Biden Department of Justice had offered got blown up by whistleblowers, and even the judge went, "Oh, dude, we can't do this. This is a crock," and so that was all lies. The idea that Biden was never going to pardon his son was a lie. The announcement that came with the pardon was another lie, saying, "Well, I have to do this or Trump is going to go after my son." And when in fact Biden was protecting his own hide because it was a blanket pardon dating back to when Biden was vice president, covering all the Burisma dealings that Biden was deeply involved with. So I'm not upset about this, Bill. I'm really not. What I am upset about is talking heads in the media like John Harwood, who didn't just parrot the lies, but actually lectured us and scolded us. This is what Harwood said last summer. He's an MSNBC guy. He said, "People who insist Biden will pardon Hunter after specifically ruling it out are telling on themselves. They can't imagine someone acting on principle and keeping his word." Well, not his word as a Biden,
wow.
Certainly. Bill, when this is the level of veracity and just moral recklessness on the part of our mainstream media, is it any wonder that Elon Musk is considering buying MSNBC with the change he finds under my sofa cushions?
I'm a little insulted by him saying, that it's impossible, that you're telling on yourself as a person who can't imagine anyone standing up and doing what they actually say they're going to do. Yeah. I don't feel that way. I just don't believe that a Biden would stand up and do what he says he's going to do. There's a big difference there between those two things. I can imagine lots and lots of people, not only imagine, I know for an absolute certain morality, a certain moral certainty rather, that there are any number of people that are associates of mine who, if they say they're going to do something, they're going to do something, damn the consequences. I just never believed Joe Biden was one of those people, and I give you my word as a whittle on that one. The entire I give you my word as a Biden thing is a red flag, by the way, Steve. You know, it's like one of those people that say, "Look, I'll be honest with you." Whenever they open a sentence with, "Let me be honest with you," "I'm not going to lie to you," or something, it's like you're dealing with a person who is used to lying. And whenever you've got a guy who likes to say, "I mean it, I'm serious, I give you my word as a Biden," it's almost like a meta joke, you know. Part of it is an admission that the fact that I have to assure you of my honesty is an indication that I'm not being honest. That's number one. And number two, the meta part, the part that's actually, funny to God, is that his standard for veracity and truthfulness is the Biden family name. I'm aside from the fact that I agree with you about the just the moral rot in the way the press had spent the last year deifying Joe Biden for something he had not yet had an opportunity to prove he would do. Right? Joe Biden would never. He said he's not going to do it, so he's not going to do it. Well, we won't know whether he does it or not until he leaves office without doing it. Yeah. Turns out we didn't get that far. So yeah, I'm with you on the whole business about the formerly mainstream media, which is now the sideline media, pulling weight again for one of the two political parties. But ultimately, I wonder, since my experience with the Biden family has not been one of untrammeled, unbroken trust, I do also wonder whether or not part of this pardon is going to benefit the big guy himself. You know, I mean, I'm not a legal scholar by any means, but just from a thumbnail analysis of it, if Hunter Biden can no longer be prosecuted for the crimes he committed, and Hunter Biden is the connection between Joe and the money source, it seems to me that you've taken away an awful lot of the pathways to prosecute the president for corruption if you have cut off if you basically
bag
just
man.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and at the very least, there'll be no testimony in public about the former president's behavior.
Precisely. Now, certainly, people with legal minds, better legal minds than I have, might be able to argue, because I've heard that certain members of Congress are saying we're still proceeding with the investigation whether he's pardoned or not, because I imagine it's, from my limited understanding of it, just because he's pardoned, just because Hunter is pardoned of the crimes that he's committed, doesn't necessarily mean that he cannot be subpoenaed for an investigation into Joe. Right? I mean, those two things.
He has no Fifth Amendment protection anymore because he's not in jeopardy because of the pardon.
So, yeah.
By the way, there's a judge in New York, I think today, that did not dismiss the case. I think this was the gun case against Hunter Biden. He just terminated the proceedings. So that's a different thing. It's basically saying we're not going to do the trial right now, but he did not dismiss it.
Well, in any event, the one takeaway for this is that it's nothing but a win for Donald Trump, and actually, it's not even a win for Donald Trump or vindication for him. The one group of people that have been in my mind for the last 4 years of the January 4th political prisoners,
January 6th.
who now, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you. The J6 political prisoners who I think now can with confidence be counting down the days left for them to serve in prison, which, as we record this, is something like 49 or something like that until Inauguration Day. I think you can assume that the presidential pardon on the part of Donald Trump is coming on January 20th, and I think they can start thinking about packing up their toothbrushes. And the final thing, Steve, that I think is maybe part of this is Donald Trump had floated the idea publicly that he would pardon Hunter Biden, and I'm wondering if some small part of the equation is not wanting to give him the win, because if Trump had pardoned Hunter Biden as an act of conciliation towards the country, that would have been Hunter still would have gotten his pardon, but that would have been an entirely different animal. It would have made Donald Trump look magnanimous and all of the other things that he's been accused of not being. So I also wonder if on some level they just didn't want him to get the win by pardoning Hunter as an act of magnanimity.
Yeah, and typical for this particular White House, they have no grasp whatsoever of second order effects, and the first second order effect is that Trump basically has been given carte blanche to do whatever he wants to fix DOJ and issue all the pardons he wants. And I say go for it, because DOJ is just corrupt and rotten to the core right now.
Because this is the most egregious example of the power of presidential pardon that we may have seen as a country, but certainly that I've seen. Well, certainly, this is the most egregious or at least controversial pardon since Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. I mean, this is two generations worth of magnitude here. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it really is a big deal. But again, I'm not upset about it. But we need to fix this. You and me, all of us, talking and watching today, because this is a little bit on us. Like Joe Biden's the symptom. He's not the disease. The fact that somebody this corrupt, just absolutely corrupt to the core, a man who has never produced a product or service in the private sector, being as rich as he is corrupt. Absolutely corrupt. That is all the evidence you need. And the fact that this guy got into office and has been there for 4 years and is going to leave without handcuffs on, that's on us, because enough of us believed the lies peddled by the press, who believe we are idiots, that it's almost enough to make you think they're right, but they're not. And the evidence for that is their trust is Trust in media has never been lower. So keep doing what you're doing. What I mean by that is, don't give them the clicks. Don't give them your eyeballs. Don't watch their ads. We got to kill off this dinosaur so the scurrying little mammals like us can emerge and report the truth for you. Because that's what we need to fix the disease, which is the corruption of our institutions. And that means no more Joe Bidens with any luck. All right, that's your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. If you want to become one, go to BillWhittle.com right now. There's a big old join button. You can't miss it because you're not stupid. I don't care what the press says. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.